always like the original.
I'm gonna post a challenge to my. Guess what? Today you have a room full of acquaintances. Right, Mom? We're not friends yet. We're not friends yet. We're acquaintances.
Not friends.
An acquaintance, what it is somebody you're familiar with. That's not family. That's what this means. You know, a friend is. That's my nerd mom. No, I'm kidding. That's my wife. 25 years, happily married. Best thing I ever did. Yeah. Yes, not afraid to admit it. All right, so good. Remembering details in your conversation is always nice because when you meet again, you can always use that very same detail to reconnect. Okay? So again, remember, we're all becoming acquaintances. We're moving on to becoming friends. So that's the whole idea of this experiment. Two center rows, please stand up, please rotate. Making some funny face. 1, 2, 3, Supercon funny face. All right, on the count of 3, we're gonna scream. 1, 2, 3.
The best place to start is at the beginning. Can everybody hear me? I'm sorry, not just the mic. Okay. We'll go a little bit into the origins of Hawaii fashion, explain.
Wait, I didn't need the marquee outside. Talking about this this new anime called Academy.
My Hero Academia. Yeah.
Is it really that worth watching?
It's a very decent shonen anime.
When we were getting decent shonen anime for a while.
Oh yeah, it's the one.
Yeah. It's the same people.
Yeah. The main character is very much so what you'd expect from any shonen anime. He's very much so I'm going to try my hardest, even though I'm not very good at what I do.
And then he'll get better eventually.
Then he naturally becomes better at what he does. The only real things I can say about the show is that it does a very good job of portraying both the side characters and the villains. They both have points of view that you can kind of agree with in certain points and disagree with on others. All around, it's one of those shows where I could say, if you like anything, if you have ever had a character type that you like, you will find a character that you like in My Hero Academia. It's very easy to do.
I see. Very nice. And
The amount of heat
feathers. But this came off of just like a website, like on Amazon. It was like a maid's thing.
So if you're getting them from different parts, that means you're pretty much cosplaying just a maid, but not a particular character in an anime.
I'm actually Felicia from Fire Emblem.
I heard of that.
Yeah.
princesses tomorrow.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, we bid adieu. So, ladies, please take your bow. Take another bow. It's mine, it's all mine. And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Fane. Thank you so much for listening to me. Well, again, one more time to you young ladies, please get yourselves some money. Come back out again tomorrow night. It's going to be fun.
It's kind of weird because it's kind of just like shows that go over to midnight, but not the actual place.
I'm guessing you're not gonna be here till midnight, right? It's kind of strange for a convention. You're all out here in this secret place, or unless you're waiting for something.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for something to start up, but it's more downstairs.
What is it? What is the event that you're wondering?
It's the Star Wars. What comes next?
Very
It's at
nice.
Lake
I'm guessing your friends are spread out, and you're.
Yeah. My brother's off playing some game. I think it was like
It's probably a nerdy thing. You probably can't relate to. And why are these things called 18 plus? This starts to scare me.
Yeah, so those are the things that are like 10 o'clock and on. Once the kids are leaving, they make it for like more adult things.
Really?
But it's just like talking on like adult subjects is all. It's nothing really.
I'm childish, but I'm also an adult too. But
It's nothing really bad as far as I can tell.
you mean you've been there already?
No, because I just turned 18 this year, so this year would be the only time I can actually go.
Actually, it would be okay because you're 18. You know what? I went to MegaCon, but I never went to one of these creepy things. Maybe today's the day. I'm probably gonna feel guilty about it. What are your goals here? Because I'm actually my real goal here is to get my thing signatured by
William Shatner?
yes. But I gotta be there like very early, like an hour early, because I know there's gonna be a lot of people there. And this thing has to be rare because it's from 1996. So that's my goal here, and I had to get a photo op for it as well. What about you? What's your goal?
I already did it yesterday. I got a photo op with these two people, Lindsay and Michael Jones. They're in this anime.
It's probably a current anime that I have no idea.
I mean, I haven't seen the anime. I know them from something else that they work in because they play video games.
Oh, I
So
see.
that's what I know them from. And today they're going to be having panels. I'm going to go see them with that too. It's not until later.
So you're not the type who, because so far I've been running around and taking like selfies with those cosplayers. You're not that kind of.
Not really, because
You're not even wearing one.
I was already here yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, so I did a lot of walking, so I'm trying to rest up.
but you didn't wear any outfits, right?
No. Way too much work for me.
Ah, very nice. I hope I came out in that place alive, because it seems dangerous. Should I carry a weapon or some sort? 18, so that means you're still are you like graduating now?
I just graduated this year.
Oh, so that means you're starting college? Or you're taking a break before college?
Yeah, I'm going to be taking like a year break.
A year break? Hey, that's not very professional to take a break. You should be using every ounce of time to learn something. What is your major if you're planning to take anything?
I want to do teaching
Teaching?
for like high school students.
Oh, so you're more likely to be a professor instead of a teacher.
Yeah.
Why do you want to teach kids?
I don't know. It's just always something I've always wanted to do since I was little.
Why want to teach like in college because high school they tend to throw a lot of paper and cause trouble.
I finished choosing high school because of these teachers that I met these last couple of years that really shaped me as to who I am now. So I wouldn't be like that for other kids. Like help them get into life.
That's very good. Creating our future, I believe. And your classes looks very retro.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Where'd you get that?
Oh, I got them out of the country.
Out of the country? So
Yeah.
you're not from around here?
Technically,
South
yes,
America.
but
Somewhere in South America?
no. Central America.
Belize?
No, it's literally the central of Central America, pretty much.
Central America. So that's between Mexico and I don't even know my geography.
Not a lot of people know about it. It's Nicaragua.
Nicaragua? Oh, very nice. I'm sure that country is doing better than Venezuela, I'm sure.
They're right now going through what looks like the start of a Supercon.
It seems that poor countries tend to be violent in a way. It's like they can't really cooperate and become a civilized city.
It's a shame because it's a very beautiful country.
I'm glad you came here and staying away from all that and teaching your experience for kids. I think you are cosplaying in a way because the glasses and the hat. I'm sure you're some character.
Probably. Unbeknownst to me.
Nice. Oh, by the way, do you have like Instagram or something like that?
No, not really. I don't really use.
A female who doesn't use Instagram?
Okay, it's weird.
Huh?
It's weird. I know. I'm not really too big on that.
That's strange because normally an Instagram allows you to share your experiences with people and
Yeah. No, I don't. It's not really my thing to do.
I guess. What's your name by the way?
Brandy.
Brandy? Oh, nice to meet you. I'm just like exploring here. And are you from around here? Or are you from the north or south?
More south.
South Florida or Key West?
No, like Miami.
Miami?
Not that far.
Miami is a nice place. But I heard it can get ghetto sometimes. I live in Pembroke Pines. So it's a suburb, so I don't see really nothing happening. It's just a town, but but you live in a city, so I'm sure there's something crazy happening there.
I mean, I live in the calmer part of the city, pretty much. Like it's like more suburb-like.
Suburb. Because I went to Miami Beach, and there's a lot of metrosexual men. I was like,
Yeah, that's a whole other story. Going to Miami Beach.
Is it really a place for rainbow-like people, or is it more of a party place?
I would say it's a lot more of a party place because that's what it's known for. Like with all the clubs and everything. It is generally a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Here's the way of the world, teenage girls. She's young from the beginning, says like, Luna, I don't want to do this. But eventually she takes on the mantle. And it just goes back to that slide about Sailor Moon. She shows so much growth over time. It's really great to watch on the movie. If you ever have a chance to just watch it, with maybe the biz dub when it's all done.
No. The Viz dub is terrible. They don't know how to emote. At least the 90s dub gave us emotion.
I do actually agree with you. You're sitting down. But
I'm sorry, I'm tall.
it's quite all right. I actually do share a lot of your opinions, but I know not everybody feels the same way, and that's fine. Please leave this panel thinking there is no right answer. I don't have any answers.
Although, my personal suggestion, because I did spend an entire summer watching all 200 episodes of Sailor Moon, is, well, because I prefer the 90s dub up until Cloverway took over, so I watched all of the Deke dub, and then when they switched to Cloverway, I just switched to Japanese. And then there's no English dub for Stars anyway, so you might as well switch to Japanese at some point.
Yeah, I think that might be the way to do it.
I love wrestling fans. You like honestly, you guys are the best. Like, I have been retired for how many years now, and you guys still come out and see me. You still give me this enthusiasm. It's giving me actually literally goosebumps, right? Literally, they're there. And I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the support in my career. And I'm better than Charlotte. One more time for Trish Stratus, everybody. Thanks, you guys. Come see me at my.
So after getting all that mail, it really gave an inspiration to want to do Ultra 7, especially after Ultra 1 had ended.
Of course.
Just seeking attention. Is that all good deeds are? Was looking when I scroll by. If that's all good deeds are, maybe that's the reason why. No good deed goes unpunished. Although the learned issue circumventing. No good deed goes unpunished. Try to put down what the right government did. Alrighty, now, so be it. So be it. Let all keep moving since I'm not 16. If the arrow's taking you, I promise no good deed will I attempt to do again, ever again. No good deed will I do again.
Marvel, they're doing great things, and you're at the. I think Luke Cage should have its own movie.
It's something that could happen. You know, the thing about Luke Cage is that in the short form, you know, telling stories with impact in 13 episodes is very difficult. They do a great job of sort of keeping the suspense and trying to navigate the storyline that's kind of complex because although it's called Luke Cage, there's so many other characters, and that's what I told my showrunner. I mean, we're out there grinding, and we shoot night shoots. You know, sometimes we start at 6 at night, as soon as the sun goes down, or 8 o'clock, and then we shoot all the way until the sun comes up. And that's our day. And then we'll do that again. And then we'll have a weekend, or what's left of a weekend. And then, you know, like I'll fly to LA, see my family, and I'll come back on Monday morning, we'll start again. I mean, like, it's a grind. So we definitely put in the hours, and it's not that glamorous, and sometimes it is, you know, it just depends. So we enjoy each other's company, and it really helps to have people you like to be on set because you're on there for a very long time. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for your question. Hey, what's your name?
What's your name? My name is Xavier.
do I tell him to write? Because I haven't prepared.
How are you? And what item would you like to sign? At that home? Is that place? Yeah. I was just talking here yesterday. They're so happy. Oh, yeah. It's a great place. They have activities going on all the time. It's a great place. I'm a big fan. I wanted to meet you for years. So pleasure. Give you this. Thank you for coming by. These belong to you. It's nice to see you.
To Jess.
Spell it.
Jess.
Jess.
Jess. From your signature.
The what?
Your signature. Oh, can you write something in the back? Just like my nickname is Just Universe because I'm kind of into.
Just write it right on top of this.
If you want.
Just Universe.
Yes, that's my new nickname.
J-E-S-S?
Yeah, just J-E-S-S, then Universe after.
Just and the Universe.
Oh no, Just Universe. Continuous.
Universe.
They're not going to be able to read it, but
right.
Thank you so much,
It's a
sir.
pleasure, Jeff.
There's a bunch of
All right, perfect.
Here's the ticket.
Yep, you'll give it to him right there. Hold on to your son to put it on the table right up there.
Here we go, ladies. Thank you. Take that. Right this way, ladies. Ready?
Ready? Go.
Let's do one more.
Timing wasn't right.
Okay, I'll say ready and then do it. I'll have you cut right up here. Ready?
Go.
Very good. Right this way, ladies. We're gonna go right on there. That way, ladies. Come on up. You want to throw your stuff right there? Okay.
There you go.
Right up here. Yep. Hi, brothers. Two of you? Yes, sir. Are you sure? You sure you want to? Are you sure you want to? Ready? Yes. It's fine. Very good, sir. Right this way, sir. Next. Right on the X for me, darling.
They named a big time statue for Powder River, but he couldn't Red Cloud. He was the noble, he was the great spokesman, and this, I know, and the spokesman for the demons. It's an incredible story, terrible story.
You'll actually head up that way, sir? Yep. Ready? Very good, sweetheart. Your next brother, head up. Come on.
Now you're doing it.
You honestly my shoulder piece in?
No.
Oh.
There you go.
Very
Perfect.
good. Next, party two. Oh, that yellow line on the floor.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Hi. So, a guy called me about 6 months ago, and he said, we'd like you to make a country music album. And I said, whoa. No, Henry Winkler says, whoa. I don't say whoa. I said, yes.
So I arranged for him to send me songs, pick the songs out, and something unusual happened, at least for me. And I thought, just to start our afternoon off, I'd tell you about this unusual experience I had making making a country music album. Something wrong with the mic, it's not my voice. Making a country music album. So I start the story off long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's the wrong show. On Times Square, in Times Square, actually on Times Square, there was a building called the Brill Building. And in the Brill Building, they had composers playing in every office, composing songs for the artists of the time. And the artists of the time were Al Jolson and Eddie Cantor and latter-day Frank Sinatra, the old-time singers, the crooners, the vaudeville singers. And the Brill Building was filled with creative people who would, at the piano, would be creating songs, and they'd be creating songs for a named performer or somebody who wanted to put an act together, and they would go up and say, "What have you got?" And the guy would play the song and sing the song. And then the actor, the singer might say, I'll take that song. And there'd be an exchange of money. And the guy bought a song, and then it became, part of what he was doing, an album or a record or a single or a part of an act. So there was like there's somebody behind me. Is there somebody behind me? No. What was the noise I heard? It's a camera. It was either somebody was coming to kill me or somebody was passing gas. I'm not quite sure. So the Brill Building and the composers and the exchange between performers and the creative songwriters. Well, the Brill Building no longer exists. I'm sure it's still there, but it no longer exists as the fountainhead of all these classic hit songs that became American songs. It went to Nashville and became country music. And the country music people have, I don't think they're in one building. I think they're scattered around, but in a central area where they write songs for the country music artists who come up and say, "What do you got?" And they play and sing a song. So when Brian Curl of Heartland Records asked me to do an album, I said, "Well, what am I going to sing?" He said, "We'll send you songs." And I began to receive on the phone incredible all the new technology that allows you to do everything so efficiently. He would send me songs, and I would listen to the song, and I would say, "I like that, I don't like that." And I eventually chose, along with Jack Kent of Alabama, the group Alabama, Jack Cook of the group Alabama. He and I were doing the album, and I chose, along with him, 12 songs. So I had the recording of the 12 songs in my phone that I had chosen, and we all agreed these were the great songs. And for about a month, I'd listen to them on the phone day after day. The guy who had written the song, usually, I think maybe completely of the 12 songs, 12 performers were doing, the composer was performing the song, who himself or herself was a great performer. They just didn't have the luck of having the publicity, but they were wonderful singers, and the way they phrased their music. And I listened to it, and I listened to it. And then I had to be in Germany for an appearance, and I was performing in Germany for 2 days. I flew to Nashville on a Monday night. I got there about midnight, and Brian Curl, the producer, took me to Cook's mansion outside of Nashville. He had a castle. He had built a castle. I was lodged in the castle. I got there about 1 o'clock Tuesday morning. 10 o'clock Tuesday morning, I was in front of a microphone at Cook's studio, which is attached to the house. And because I knew the songs so well, I was able to lay down my tracks in one day, from Tuesday at 10 o'clock to about 6 in the evening. I did all 12 songs because I knew them, as though I had been doing them for a month. Now, Brian and company now take the song, my track, and do orchestrations around what I had done. And then they sent them to me finally. The record is coming out in the next 2 weeks. It's already getting, I'll leave it up to you if you should so wish to tell me what you think of it, but already it's sensational. And on top of that, before that, I had laid down some tracks for a Christmas album that'll be out in October. So I've got 2 albums coming out, but this country album is like a baby. Like, here I am, here it is, what do you think? And that's what, it's like opening night happening now. So that's what's happening to me, okay? You got it. Why are you standing way back there? The microphone's right there. Why don't you put the microphone? I have been around a long time, if that's another sort of oblique way of saying you've been there forever. How can you stand up at this point? And you may notice I'm sitting down. Well, I started off as a youngster. I was very young when I started, and just did things, and things came my way eventually, with a lot of work and a lot of being there, and trying to do my best, and gradually made it from Canada to New York, and then New York to Los Angeles to Hollywood, and back to Broadway, and then touring, and then I began to get the idea that I had been doing musicals in college, and I really loved the way I wanted to sing so badly. What I've done is sing badly. I'll have to remember that. That was not bad. And so I realized, you know, I had taken singing lessons when I was quite young, and I didn't follow through. I know you can learn, the vocal muscles can be trained, and the most miraculous thing for me vocally are opera, and the opera singers, male and female. They've taken the human voice to a level that is miraculous in what the notes and the range that they can reach. I have on my phone an app which gives us bird sounds, the birds of America. It's really interesting to play what these various birds sound like. And some of them, a hoot owl, an owl. No, the great gray owl has a variety of sounds. The likes of which, what are you laughing? It's incredible. The owl sounds incredibly. And elephants can send sounds 1,000 miles underground. And whales sing. And so the animal world is alive with sound, but no species makes the range and the emotion that human beings can do, and especially opera-trained singers. Crooners and natural singers are wonderful, and they do so well in conveying emotion and sense. But that opera and the human voice, so I've always envied that. And I came upon the ability to do the poetry of the lyric So I began to do that, and I've made some music, and I'm making more. But I've envied the musical part of that. So I lurched into music, and then I was always directing, and I was always directing, even when I wasn't a director, I was directing badly. So all of this became kind of a part of what I did: writing, directing, acting, music, and then I began to find myself winnowing into businesses that did that sort of thing, like virtual reality business. So I became interested in the magic, what's happening. You know that that technology for entertainment has gone crazy. I mean, there'll come a time, if it's not already, where we are totally entertained. I'm watching the Wimbledon on my phone. I mean, live television on my phone. You know, the Roman circuses were laid out to amuse the public and keep their mind off of what was going on politically Now somebody is passing air. That's not a camera, folks. So the Roman circuses were designed to amuse the public, to keep the minds off of what was happening in Rome at the time. And the more things went bad in Rome, the more extravagant the circuses became. They began to flood the arena with water and have naval battles, for God's sake, let alone lions attacking human beings. So are we reaching that stage where, you know, don't think about the politics of what's happening, look at your phone and be amused. But virtual reality, so the company came to me and said, would I be part of the company of this virtual Ziva, it's called, Z-I-V-A, the virtual reality company. And they played for me with the goggles on, part of what they were designing. And it's so real, you cannot tell the difference between the reality and the image on in the glasses. It could be psychologically damaging if it's like a nightmare, which this was. In addition to that, I went to JPL, and they are using the same technology, three-dimensional footage. They allowed me to presume to. I'm sitting in a chair or walking. I'm walking on the moon. I was there on the moon with virtual reality, and that's here. It isn't even around the corner. It's around the corner for mass production, but it's happening right now. I mean, there's an explosion in electronics, and when you think of the magic of the art, of computer art, computer graphic art is gone from the Star Trek I was in, you know, almost laughable, or a guy in a wing, in a fluffy suit, pretending to be standing on a wing of a 500-mile-an-hour jetliner, and you have to suspend disbelief. That was what? I know it was Twilight Zone. He's telling me that was Twilight Zone. I know that was Twilight Zone. When I can't remember, I'll ask you. Which will be any moment now, I'll be ready. But the magic that we didn't have, that J.J. Abrams has discovered for use in Star Trek, has broken the economic barriers of the movies that I was in. Would make a certain amount of money, like $100 million. Now it's in the stratosphere of the money that Star Trek movies are making because of the magic of computer graphics. So, and I'm involved in that. So it's a matter of being healthy, being curious, and having the ability to look into what it is you're curious about, no matter what the career part of it is.
Thank you.
That's a rather extensive answer to a very simple question. Hello.
Hi there. My name is Emilio.
Hello, Emilio.
And I know you got like a new, some new music coming out.
New music coming out.
Yeah.
Christmas album, too. And it's weird. It's a strange band on Christmas songs. Really a little offbeat. It's really good. I'm sort of like, there's my baby, and I got another baby. I got twins coming out. And a book.
And a book.
And a book, somewhere in between. Live long and ... We don't know. The rest is up to you.
I want to know, like, what are some of your favorite genres of music? You know?
What are my favorite genres of music?
Yeah, like, what do you listen to?
Hip hop. No, not hip hop. I find myself listening to a lot of country music. I really admire country music. That's where the single performers are now. I love show music. The great Broadway musicals have always been my favorite, and I sort of love to listen to that. Classical music has got a very important place in. I wasn't brought up. My home when I was growing up did not have a lot of music in it. My dad used to come home at the end of the week. He'd work Saturday mornings, and Saturday afternoon he'd rest up by listening to the opera. He'd lie down in a room on a cot, and he'd listen on the radio. You remember radio? He'd listen on the radio to the New York Opera Company, which they had on every Saturday afternoon. I guess that's where my acquaintanceship with opera and classical music came from. But that's where he would rest for a couple of hours, and then he'd get up and do family things. So I was not brought up with music in the house. It was interesting. And then I came to music with rock and roll and country music. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of rock and roll, so
Yeah.
Black Sabbath tee on, so
Yeah, I see the Black Sabbath, and I've gotten to know yeah. Remind me, now's your time. Black Sabbath. Ozzy. I don't know what she said, but I'm not big. No, I don't know from that. I know Ozzy. Hey, Bill, what are you doing? It's good, man. I don't. He's great. I tried to do a number on an album with that Ozzy sang, Black Sabbath sang. What was the name of the number I did? Nobody knew the record, I guess. Okay. Yes? You good?
Yeah.
I'm good. Why are you standing way back there, honey? No, you. Come on, move the line up. Goodness me.
Hello, sir.
Hello, dear.
My name is Sierra.
Sierra.
Again. So my question is a follow-up to his. I wanted to know, because I like to download music. I buy my music. I don't, it's not illegal, okay? Anyway, so I like to buy music from, Google Play, just
James Spader, the writer, David E. Kelly. Listen, all these names I have to come up with, and I've only got one guy to work with. So Kelly is like a genius writer, and he wrote Ally McBeal and The Practice, for example. In those days they did 24 shows. Now they're doing 8, 10, 12. He wrote 24 shows. They did 24 shows for each, so that's 48 shows. He wrote all 48. This is one year, several years ago. And he won an Emmy for comedy and an Emmy for drama in the same year, and he wrote all the shows. That's the guy who wrote Boston Legal. And when we knew that we were being canceled, he tried to sum it all up by taking the two characters, James Spader and myself, and for tax reasons only, sorry, married them. And so the last scene was my dancing with James Spader.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. And the question is, now that the show's canceled, did those two characters stay together? And the same way I speculated after Captain Kirk was killed in the movies, they gave me permission to write novels as though Captain Kirk continued to live.
Oh, I would love it.
And I put my own life and the things that were happening to me into Captain Kirk's life and did a kind of autobiographical fiction on the subsequent novels about Star Trek. I think that couple still exists, and they've fallen in love.
I would love to see an autobiography of Danny Craig.
Yeah, right. It's good to you. Thank you. You're the dude. No, the Biddies is the dude.
The dude abides. Hi, Mr. Shatner. My name is Danny. And,
Danny, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
By the way, I grew up as an Air Force brat, and Star Trek was one of the things that grounded me whenever we moved from place to place. So thank you.
How wonderful.
So, one of your most iconic moments is the Get a Life skit on SNL. And I'm wondering if you recall
How wonderful of you to bring that up in front of a conventional audience. You get a life.
Mr. Shatner, always make an impact, right?
Always make an impact?
Always make an impact. So I'm wondering if you recall how long it took the writers of SNL to convince you to do that skit, and I'm curious as what the response of fandom was at the time.
You know what's strange to me is how, that was done so many years ago, and it's continually brought up, that sketch of Get a Life, and I wow, that longevity for a sketch on Saturday Night Live is kind of special. So they wrote a sketch, Saturday Night Live did, in which I'm at a convention and people are asking me questions about how Captain Kirk lived. What's Captain Kirk's favorite color? I don't know. And I finish it off with Get a Life. And the comedy behind Get a Life, it was obviously I was having fun with. If I were to say to you, hey dude, get a life, it was not meant in the farthest reaches of my imagination a condemnation. It was fun, it was joking, because I'm as much involved in Star Trek more than anybody else here. Well, maybe not anybody else. But I'm involved. And so Get a Life was meant for fun. And I thought of it as fun. And I got very little kickback on it, although I understand that the Roddenberry office looked askance at it a bit. There were some sideway glances, but that was years ago, and we're still here.
And thank you very much. And thank you for your fanboys.
A fanboy thing. Well, I'm looking at a great fan right now. This is perhaps the greatest fan of all. Bring, it's a wonderful makeup, and he's doing it so well. Can you come up on the stage? Come up on the stage. This guy is famous for looking like an animal. No, seriously, he's the same Czechoslovakian acrobat who was standing on the wing of that airplane, and now he's playing a dog, And his name is Chuck Inovovich. And hi Chuck, how are you, man? Good to see you. Hey Chuck, how are you? Come on over here, Chuck. Chuck, take the head off now. Chuck, come on, take the head off. Sit down, Chuck. Okay, good boy. Chuck, take the head off. Take your tongue out. Stop, Chuck, stop slobbering and take the head off. Hi, sweetheart. Thank you. He's a stage dog. I tell you, once you taste it, you never want to quit. That's great. That's fantastic. Next, go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Captain.
Get a life.
From one leader to another, say to the leader of this country.
So wait a minute, say it again. What?
From one leader to another leader, what would you say to the country?
To the country?
Yes, to
America?
the leader of the country.
Oh, well, I'm a Canadian, you know that, right?
I know.
And I'm living here for longer than anybody is alive in this audience. I've been living here on a green card. I don't want it taken away, man. I love it here. So, but let me put it this way. I was in Canada until I was, I graduated from McGill, and then I went 3 years to Stratford, Ontario, a classical company, and then I came down here, and so since the time I was less than 25, I've been living in the United States, okay? While I was in Canada, so many things happened across the border. The witch hunt for communism and World War II and the Nazi thing, everything. As bad as some people think it is now, it's been bad. There are bad things happening in a democracy all the time. And this democracy survives everything because of the strength of the country and the people. So whatever your politics are, this country always survives and gets better, no matter what it is. And it'll happen. Have faith in America. Young man, do you know what we're talking about?
Yes, I really do.
You really do.
I wanted to ask you a question. In season 2, episode 15 of Star Trek, or Trouble with Tribbles,
yes.
How many times did you have to redo the scene where you were buried with tribbles without laughing?
Well, that was preceded by in season 2 by episode 14, right? And preceded by episode 16, right? So I remember that vividly. Because it was only 50 years ago, and I've got it. Even though he doesn't realize it, I got it still here. So there were 7.5 times that they had to do it. And on the 8th time, I only smiled slightly. I have no bloody idea. But it was a funny scene. And what I do remember was there was a guy, a stagehand, with a tribble in his hand, who must have played for the baseball team. Because just before they yelled cut, he threw that thing and he hit me on the head. I got hit on the head with a tribble, okay? And until you've been hit on the head with a tribble, you haven't felt pain. You think a toothache is bad? You think a kick in the groin is bad? Tribble on the head. No ums.
Sorry. One more question.
Huh. That girl stood there and said, you have one question, and you want 2 questions because you're young and stalwart.
Sorry.
No, don't be. Ask your question.
What did you feel like when you yelled Khan in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan?
The same feeling I had when that guy threw the dribble. Extreme pain. I was acting. Okay? I called con like...
Do it!
These bird sounds, I've got to play for you one day. A bird calling for its mate sounds just as bad as con, you know? That's what I was feeling. You good?
Yes, thank
You have a third question, I can see it.
I don't.
Okay, good. Hello, dear. Good, you?
You look great. I'm great. Been crushing on you for 40 years. Better late than never.
Better late than never.
It's a great show. Brings a tremendous amount of joy and laughter into our home.
Thank you.
I was wondering.
Imagine sitting here and this lovely lady says, you bring joy and laughter into my home. You know, that warms my heart. That's incredible. That's the most wonderful thing that could be said.
My pleasure. So can you give us an idea how you came to be involved with the project, and what are the prospects for a season 3?
Season 3 is trembling on the edge, but there are countries that want us to come, pay to the show, pay money for us to come, and there are sponsors and networks that want the show. So we'll know by August 4th what the network is going to decide. So I don't know what we'll do. I have an office in Los Angeles, and there's some windows right there where people walk back to go into the building, but anybody goes by, I can see going by. So one day I'm sitting in my office working, and leaving is that Henry Winkler? That was Henry? I dash out the door, Henry! And he comes back in. I said, what are you doing here? He says, well, I was just auditioning. I said, Henry, you're auditioning? Why are you auditioning? So I held him in my arms, kissed him gently on the forehead, and said, you can't possibly give a lousy audition. You're such a talented actor. So that resonated. And Henry was asked by NBC to executive produce a show that had played in Korea called, in English, No Flowers or Flowers for my grandfather, some strange Korean name that doesn't translate very well. And they were going to do the show, but some older guys who have one last chance at life. And Henry, executive producers usually don't do anything. They usually just collect a small check. And they've been made executive producers for one reason or another. But Henry did some work, and he said, Shatner, what about Shatner? And they said, oh, no. And he insisted. Anyway, my name was brought up. He said, yeah, let's get Shatner. So he came, I was the next one. So there was Henry, and there was me, and then they went after the others. So when they asked me to do this, and I said, what do you do? Well, we're going to go off into, the first thing will be Asia. We're going to go into Asia and spend a month in Asia with Terry Bradshaw, George Foreman, and I'm a real sport aficionado. I love heavyweight fights. I love football. I played it, I boxed, all those things I've done in an amateurish way, and to see the top professionals do it is incredible. So when they mentioned those names as well, what a team we've got. What a great, I've always wanted to meet those guys. I mean, George Foreman is two-time heavyweight champion of the world. George Foreman was brought up on the streets. We went to a restaurant somewhere in Asia where the secret ingredient, and they said, you know, the secret ingredient, we're eating it, and everybody's, this is rather good. And I said, you know, this tastes like dirt. And they said, you're right, it's dirt. They had a special dirt that they had brought up, and George Foreman kept eating it. You know why? His mother brought him up because they didn't have anything in the home. They'd serve dirt to eat at times around the table. So this guy, this giant, strong man, grows up with real rage, and he turns to boxing, and he wants to hurt people, and he hurts people, and they drop, and he wins the Golden Globes. It's slightly different from the Golden Gloves. And he wins the Golden Gloves, and he turns professional, and almost immediately becomes the heavyweight champion of the world. And he's 30, and he's champion of the world, and he gets beaten. And now he's lying on a gurney in the dressing room, and he feels God enter his body. And he changes at that moment in time. Getting beaten the way he was, suddenly this killer changes. For the next 10 years, he begins to preach. He doesn't box anymore. And he told me one day, he looked around the table at his 12 Georges. He's named all his children George. And I said, how do they know when to come? He says, they know. Bill, they know when I say George, or I say George, they know when to come. They're all sitting around the table, the 12 kids, and they're all going, eat, want to eat. So I had to go make money to feed my children. He returns back to boxing and wins the championship again, and this time without the anger, this time with the science. What an interesting man, and as is the others, so interesting. So the show lived on the relationships that we began to have, and I was so grateful to be part of that show and to get to know those people and visit those sites, those countries.
Thank you.
Hello there. How are you? Are you my memory? Were you the one that said, hang around, I'm going to really need you?
I'm all in.
You're all in, okay, good.
Okay, so I'll give you a choice, entertainment or non-entertainment question.
Entertainment, I have my choice. 1, entertainment. 2, non-entertainment. Is there a third choice? How about entertainment that went bad? So that's non-entertainment, but it's an entertainment question. There is a dilemma for you. There is a philosophical question. When is entertainment entertainment if you're not being entertained? If you're at a show and you're not being entertained and you want your money back, have you been entertained? Or if you're at a fiasco and you're laughing at how bad it is, have you gotten your entertainment's worth? It's a real dilemma, man. You came here asking me a question and I'm posing it to you. What do you want to hear?
I'm all out.
You were all in just a moment ago. You're very changeable. I want you to set your mind. Are you in or are you out? You'll never play poker with me, I'll tell you. You're in. Ask me.
So, if you could be anything outside the entertainment industry, what would you have been?
What would I have been if I was anything outside the industry? You know, my mind just like launched, like an impression. Okay, so the impression, I've associated. I've turned this way a lot. Hi guys, how are you out there? So, you're so welcome. A 3/4 profile away is not bad. So my mind, I just jumped with you like, what would you do? You look so much like the guy back there, it's incredible. Are you twins? Oh, I see, you moved there, that's great. Toughest. I did a show a while ago, involving physicists who study the cosmos, cosmologists. That is so smart. That is so cute. I can't get a life. Holy cats, look at the large group of people. I'll never get to all those questions. So there are a group of scientists who study the cosmos, the universe. And they're working in an area that is so science fiction that many times they get their cues from science fiction writers. And science fiction writers get their cues from this advanced science where the peak of the particular career, aspect of my career that I really love is talking to people and interviewing them. I did a show called Raw Nerve for 3 seasons. And I interviewed a lot of people and got a lot of information. And I got sort of have a knack for it. And so I did a show in which I was asked to interview a number of cosmologists, I don't know the proper term, ending up with Dr. Stephen Hawking. I got maybe the last interview with Dr. Stephen Hawking, and he imagined dark holes, black holes, that like a whirlpool in water, that energy that surrounds the universe can have little whirlpools and things go down the whirlpools. Now, a whirlpool in our toilet goes down to the sewage plant. We know where that goes. And a whirlpool in a river can suck you down, drown you, but eventually down at the bottom, it expels whatever it is it's caught. Where does the energy from a whirlpool in the universe, where does that go? And what is it? So he proposed that the energy whirling down had an event horizon, the very rim of it, where you could possibly escape or you don't escape. And if you were human and got caught, it would suck you down, and it would first start with your feet, if you were going feet down, and then pull your body apart. The energy, the gravity of that would pull your body. So the last thing to disappear would be, oh my God, and you're gone. Not quite, but you get the idea. But he was just working on theory. He would see through he was told, I guess, through a telescope that the energy was whirling, and he supposed this. It was a novel idea. And then he said, no information comes out of the bottom of the whirlpool. And then 5 years later, he said, nah, information does come out. Working totally in theory, working totally like a science fiction writer, thinking, what else can I imagine? I had a ferocious argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson, okay? It was just a pretend argument because he's brilliant and I know nothing. And he and I both knew that. How can you make a scientific observation when 95% of what you're looking at, you don't know what it is? The universe is being torn apart. It should be coming together with the force of gravity, one of the laws of what we think are the laws of nature. It's expanding. Where's it going? Neil, how can you say something exists when you don't know 95% is black, is clouded? Energy, dark energy, dark matter. He gave me some answer. Right. So the place I would end up being so fascinated by the awe and the mystery of space would be, I would have joined hands with Dr. Stephen Hawking and never left his side. Okay?
Thank you for letting me ask that.
Who are you supposed to be, Teddy Bear? Into the microphone, right in.
My name is Paul. I'm dressed up as Tigger, and this.
I didn't understand the word. Right into the microphone.
Oh yeah. Well, my name is Paul. I'm dressed up as Tigger, and this is Ted from the Seth.
Oh, Ted for the movie.
Although he's just with me.
Does he speak?
Yeah, he does, but it's very vulgar. I shouldn't press the pause.
No, there are kids here.
Right, exactly. But he could just easily be an expendable red-shirted crew member of the Enterprise.
He's wearing a red shirt, so he's expendable. Ted is an expendable member of the Star Trek crew. That's how you got this all related. The Ted movie and Star Trek.
Anyway, my question is...
But you're a tiger. What's that significance of your tiger suit?
No, I just... Either way, I can be Tigger and...
Tigger?
Yes. Anyway, my question is, Mr. Shatner,
Yes.
you worked with animals throughout your acting career.
I have.
Such films as A Whale of a Tale and Kingdom of the Spiders.
Yeah.
In real life, you're a horse
Yeah.
owner. What have been your most memorable experiences working with animals, both good and bad, in your acting career and in life in general?
Well, I worked with a tiger, a real live tiger. Guy held it with a chain, a collar and a chain, and the tiger runs 500 pounds. The guy was like 150, and he was walking the tiger on a chain, and I'm supposed to be in the scene with the tiger. And I'm wondering, if the tiger moved this way, if he yanked the chain, would the tiger say, oh, all right, I won't bite him. Yeah? What do you want? I figured, no, he wouldn't. All right? So I was with great apprehension. Why are you filming me? You're not supposed to. The tiger really made me think twice. I had to act with a bear in a movie I did with Yul Brynner. And I had just seen footage of a bear. The bear was seated in a television show. Maybe you've seen this footage where the bear turns around, the person's talking on the microphone, and the bear bites, bear hugs and bites the interviewer. I'm thinking, I don't want to be in this same room as this bear. But perhaps the most dramatic moment for me was in California. There was an environmental group who wanted some publicity, and they said, we've got permission for you to go up to a camp, a live animal park north of San Francisco, and you can swim with the orcas. And I said, wow, I'd love to do that. So we're driving up to San Francisco, and I'm reading the newspaper in which it says a trainer in San Diego has just been drowned by the orca that she was training. The orca kept bringing her down, then she'd be let up, and then she'd bring her down, and drowned the trainer. Subsequent to that, I've read several books on orcas and dolphins and things. And the orcas are, there's no telling how intelligent they are. There's no telling how they think and what they think. We know they do. There's no telling how disseminating it must be for a pelagic animal, meaning they roam the seas in pods and eat whatever it is they eat. So sometimes they eat salmon, sometimes they eat seals, depending on where they are around the island. What it must be like for them to be incarcerated in a pool the size of not even the size of this room, and how angry it must get, and what anger is being shown by pulling and then releasing, and then pulling and then releasing, an intelligent being. I now arrive at the park, and I'm sitting on the edge of the platform, and the animals are swimming there, and the guy, the head of the park, the head of the orca thing, is saying, all right, here's what we're going to do, Bill. I want you to sit on the edge there and hold your hands like this. The orca will put his head up there. I want you to step on the fins. Hold on to the orca's head, and the orca will dance with you. Now, Bill, listen to me very carefully. When I blow the whistle, swim as fast as you can. Get to the side, get up, over here. Don't pause. When I blow the whistle, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? I don't like the sound of his voice. Why is he whispering? Is the orca going to hear him? I got to do this. And I sit on the edge. The orca pokes its head up there. I step on the fins. And now the orca's dancing. I'm dancing with an orca! I hear the whistle. I release and I swim as fast as I can to the dock. I get up and the orca is eating a fish and I'm safe. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being with you.
Thanks, thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Mr. Shatner. William Shatner's sightings have been moved up to 4:45. You've been moved up to 4:45, sir, due to travel. There you have it. See, there you have it, Mr. And one more hand for Mr. William Shatner. Mr. Shatner. He's already out the door. I'm trying. All right. Well, stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We have John Barrowman next.
outfit was inspired by the extravagant gowns seen in the Phantom of the Opera. Our model, Genevieve, added a gold mask to pay tribute to the Phantom. We hope this outfit pleases the opera ghost and no chandeliers are easily accessible. Let them wear cake. This next outfit is good enough to eat. Our model is wearing a cake bean dress by Angelic Pretty. Brianna is mixing the pastel colors typical of Sweet Lolita with darker pieces. She has added any hand-sculpted accessory and even has sweet pea nail art. Just add sprinkles and Brianna is ready for a bakery window display. She has definitely whipped us up with this bittersweet coordinate. Round and round the merry-go-round. Where we stop, nobody knows. We are Thank you. And before you leave, we actually have goodie bags up here to represent. We have candies, and also if you're interested in Lolita Japanese fashion.
Come to life, I love it! Next, give it up for Prince Nightmare as Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2!
El fin de semana se deja ver. La 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 la, vestido de traje, lujuria salvaje bajo mi piel. Si yo... Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody makes mistakes.
To be queen one day, you need to start embracing your villain side.
Always knows best, so hard, lost every time. Hear her voice in my head. Evil is the only real way to live.
Hi, Florida. My name is Steven Universe, and it's great to be here. I'm from Beach City, and it kind of reminds me of home. Anyway, Garnet saw Peridot in boxes one time, and if Garnet would wear them, they would be called undergarments. Wah wah! A lot of boating and fishing happens here in Florida. But what do you get when you cross fishing with my favorite dessert? Hookie cat. If there was a question mark on my shirt instead of a star, wanna know what my nickname would be? Steven Hooniverse? Speaking of stars, I'm pretty sure if someone got knocked out by Garnet, they would see stars. Oh, boom! Speaking of the sea and stars, I just realized something me and Patrick Starr have one thing in common is that we both live with people with defined noses. Boop. Yeah, that wasn't much of a punchline, I just thought it was funny. Anyway, now I'm going to leave this off on a high note. What do you call a crystal gem who really wants water? Amethyst! Thank you so much. My name is Steven Universe. Have a good day.
Some Holy Santos brought to the high school to guard the hallways and to bring us good luck. El Santo Niño taught us a good one. My Aunt Concha has seen him. And there's a great FFA schedule lined up, and I would like to see more of that.
Let's go Sailing Squad! Next we have the K-Junkies as Yuria.
Doesn't mean I can't still dream. Is it really true? I'm your favorite person. Yeah, we're never not gonna be a team. It's just what we do. We make it a two-player game.
In a battle between waifus, why not both? Now welcome up, Gay Shana as...
ingredient of a concoction, chemical X.
Now I've got a confession. I just really want attention. I promised myself that I'd do anything. Anything I've done to notice me. But I ain't complaining. We all wanna be famous. So go ahead and say what you wanna say. You know what it's like to be famous. Wanna know what your name is. 'Cause see, when I was younger, I would say, when I grow up, I wanna be famous. I wanna be a star. I wanna be a movie. When I grow up, I wanna see the world, drive nice cars. I wanna have movies. When I grow up, be on TV, people know me, be on magazine. When I grow up, fresh and clean, number one chick, wanna step out on the scene. From what you wish for, 'cause you just might get it. Just might get it. Just might get it. From what you wish for, 'cause you just might get it. Just might get it. Just might get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here comes Catherine Maxwell present. We'll see this car cap.
And this time, we will kill the bat!
All right, ladies, coming.
Styling Zulu, more than Zulu. Walking Zulu, talking Zulu, freestyle Zulu, writing Zulu, Zulu, mami Zulu, Zulu, papa Zulu, earthing Zulu, solo Zulu. Funding, pick up.
We're in better shape now.
Tonight
Alright, well, okay. I mean, my shit finally came true, so I can't complain too much. Assassin's Creed! Alright, the patron saint of fabulous.
I went and cut the chopsticks, put it in my bun just to pop. I'm always in the top. Box seats, the gossip. Got the hammer, 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 king, got the hammer in the room. Could you bust? Isn't it just be dazzling, dazing, utterly amazing? Gazing round is like to die. Just seeing it feels so good. I'd scream if I only could. I'd hoped and wished and wanted so to be here. Wished and prayed and planned it to a T. Prayed and...
I'm going to ask you this. Do you have any comics at all?
No. I was deliberately wasting your time.
Okay, I'm going to leave now. Goodbye. Wrong way.
Give it up to the comic shop. Alright guys, I'm not sure how he got here. There wasn't another season, but he's back and he's ready for more. Give it up to Angel as Carlton Banks.
El diablo me llama, pero Jesucristo me abraza. Guerrero como Eddie, que viva la raza. Yeah. Me gustan boricuas, me gustan cubanas.
That's what I thought you said. Now let me offer this as the rebuttal.
Hey, blow up.
Feel that adrenaline igniting. There's high adventures in the air. When high adventures in the air.
Capable of doing terrible things.
Alright, well, on that note, let's go ahead and welcome up the gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
Breaking hearts and love.
Find a party system is important if you don't want to get nuts.
When a strange man offers you candy,
It's probably a trap. Kidnapping is wrong to do.
All right, guys, it's midnight, and all he had was a frozen TV dinner. In celebration of his parents finally leaving him home alone, here is Joel Goodson. Here to wrap up the show in proper fashion, here is Stella Russotti as fashion designer to...
What are you wearing? Oh my God. Next, welcome Kevin as Baldy from Baldy's Basics.
Next, we have Sophia Smith as Graffiti Tracer from Over.
A round of applause for Sadie. A round of applause for Sadie and Michael Broder, our
Thank you.
Well, Ava.
I'm really excited.
Are you excited?
One big grand prize.
Audience, are you ready for the Best in Show? Are you ready for the Best in Show? For a $1,500 cash prize and award trophy, the recipient of the Supercon 2018 Best in Show Costume Contest entrance is Nessa. Ladies and gentlemen, Supercon 2018.
Supercon! All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you all next year, or at least I certainly hope we'll see you all tomorrow as well. But the convention is not over. There is still lots of parties. We've got shows. We've got panels. We got all sorts of stuff going on in this room and in the rest of this building.
Make sure you check your program and the app. Patty, Levi, guess what else we have going on in this very room at
What do
11
we have
o'clock?